Hey guys, super excited about today's episode. I am bringing on one of my bestie boos, Erica Williams, with @Skin Affirmations on Instagram, and we're going to be getting into all things skincare, waxing. My girl gave me my first Brazilian a few weeks ago, so we're going to talk about a little kitty waxing, aging skin, retinol, things like that. So make sure you don't miss it, subscribe, and we'll see you there. Hey guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Healthy Kitty Club podcast. I am here today with one of my besties, Erica Williams. She works at Columbia Gorge Salon and Spa, and she is here to talk to us about all things aesthetics, skincare. We're going to get into some waxing and aging skin. So, I'd like to introduce you, Erica. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
Okay, well, I am an esthetician. I started my business about 2 years ago. It's called Skin Affirmations, and I operate out of Columbia Gorge Salon and Spa in Troutdale. My background in beauty comes from beauty product distribution. I have a love for product knowledge, effective products, all of that. When I decided I wanted to leave the corporate world after getting into that regional manager realm, um, skin was my go to. I knew I wanted to stay in the industry. I had lots of really great connections. Building your network is so important in anything that you do. So I started this business and have been super successful since. So it's been an awesome 2 years. And I focus on facials and waxing mostly. Do a little bit of like lash lift and tints here and there, but mostly facials and waxing, a lot of facials.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it. So what would you say is your favorite service?
My favorite service, of course, is in the facial realm.
Mhm.
I do on average like 4 facials a day, anywhere from like 3 to 6. 6 is kind of pushing it for as far as like my hands and arms go.
Yeah.
But I love microdermabrasion facials, the dermaplane facials. Those two are probably my top.
Awesome, awesome. So, okay, let's be real here. You know me. No skincare routine.
Hmm.
About to be 42. Literally, you guys just started washing my face in the last like 4 or 5 months, like 0 skincare.
Hmm.
So, why is a skincare routine important? Because I've been told to have one for a million years and I never listened. So maybe we can help some ladies out that actually want to listen to an
Yeah.
expert.
It's like anything else, like you have to plan for it. Aging is inevitable. We're all going to age at our own rate in our own way, but it's going to happen. So I think a lot of what people want to do is fix it when it's too late instead
Yeah.
of do preventative measures to make sure that we stay youthful, appear to be youthful. So I think that part is like really important. It's to be preventative. It's to take
Mhm.
care of your skin. It's to age gracefully. Nobody wants to get to that place where they're like 40, 45, 50, 60. I have a lot of like 65, 70-year-old clients that are just starting to do their skincare and they've been cooking themselves in the sun for 20 years
Mhm.
plus. So I think a skincare routine is really important at every age for preventative measures.
So, like, what age would you say we should start a routine? Like, is it like 12? Like,
Teens,
what's
yeah, when
teens when we start
puberty's
to get
going, when
hormonal?
hormones are going, getting into that routine early is going to be really important because a lot of people just don't build a habit.
Yeah.
I think a lot of success comes from habit stacking. I'm sure people have read about that. Um, Building that habit, making sure that you're taking care of your skin young, you'll have more of a chance of taking care of it as you age. Plus, you'll again get it when you need to get it. And so, yeah, I would say teen years, puberty
Okay.
is going to be really important. I mean, my daughter is almost 9. She's 9 in 2 weeks, and she's already doing the skincare thing, which might
Yeah.
be a little bit too early. I tell her all the time, like, you're clogging those pores, honey. Your nose doesn't look well.
Oh my
But
God, so cute.
that's what
Well,
happens
it
when.
is though. It's such a thing because that's literally as you're talking, I was thinking about like mine, same thing. I couldn't have cared less about skincare. And they're just so like, we got to do all the things. I got to have my little skincare headband. I got to,
Mhm.
knock it out, gets all excited about
Yeah.
it, which I love. I wish I would have been that way. I g- was really lucky as a teenager that my skin just stayed pretty okay. And now, like I said, that I'm 40 something, I'm like, oh,
We
so
gotta do
all
something.
the shit you didn't do for years is now
Mhm.
barreling this way.
I think
So,
social media has helped the young audience see it more.
yeah.
Not that I want them to be doing everything that's on social media because like
Mhm.
TikTok trends are not always it.
Right.
But I think social media kind of helped the younger generation make sure that they're taking care of their
Yeah,
skin.
connect with it. It's
Really
like,
pushes
"Oh,
that.
okay, this is
Yeah.
what we're supposed to be doing."
And I love it for a lot of reasons. I don't love like some of the trends that
Yeah.
take place, but
What trends do you feel like we should be making sure they're skipping?
I think there are certain things that should be left to the professional
Mhm.
um, in any
Realm.
profession, in any
Yeah.
realm. So, like dermaplaning at home, probably shouldn't do the tools that you're using harbor bacteria. They create trauma to the skin, things like that. So, like dermaplaning at home, don't love. I
Yeah.
think this like beef tallow trend is such a weird trend and really only for a very specific skin type, but then everybody's using it because everybody thinks that it's going to work magic on their
Right.
skin for every reason, and it's not really for every reason. So I think like trends like that
Yeah.
just really aren't super beneficial. But it does get people talking. It does get people looking for estheticians. It does get people taking care of their skin. So
Yeah.
that's really
Huge.
it's a good start.
Love it, love it. So I know we need to be doing skincare in the morning and the night.
Yes.
So what do we need to be doing between like what are the differences between a daytime routine and a nighttime routine?
So I think it's important to take goals into consideration. Like,
Mhm.
what are you trying to achieve with your skin? What is an esthetician noticing in your skin? It's going to be different for everyone, but I think what a lot of people will focus on is that like PM is hydration,
Okay.
because people don't like to wear heavy things on their face. We sweat throughout the day. We have things like that that happen that maybe the heaviest of products isn't going to be the best for us,
Yeah.
and that moisture really happens at nighttime while we're sleeping, and we can like put a mask on and wake up in the morning and wash it off, that type of thing. I think morning is more focused on like things that have instant effect. So like an eye firming serum or something that's really going to take those dark circles away, really focusing on those areas in the morning. I It's also important like depending on the person, do you have a vitamin C in your routine and a retinol in your routine? Because I mean, retinol makes our skin sensitive to sun, so we're going to be using that at night. Also, retinol and vitamin C kind of cancel each other out, so they're not things that you're going to want to be using at the
Oh,
same time.
okay.
So it just kind of depends on the person and what the routine looks like for that person, which is why estheticians exist,
Right, right.
so that we can help you with that process. But ultimately, making sure that you're cleansing and moisturizing in the morning, making sure that you're cleansing and moisturizing at night, and then not doing anything that's going to be contraindicated indicative of
Mhm.
each other or that cancel each other out. And then moisture really happens at night, I would say.
Okay, I like it. I like it. How do you feel about drugstore skincare versus higher end skincare?
It's funny because you know the answer to this question, but I don't love drugstore skincare, and there are going to
Mhm.
be some estheticians that say some of it's okay. And I mean, sure, I guess if you're going to be doing something, that's better than nothing. But I wouldn't spend a lot of time and money on drugstore skincare for several reasons. One being the active ingredients in those and the ingredients that are actually going to make the difference in the skin. They tend to have really trace amounts. It's going to be like that last ingredient on the long
Mm,
list of ingredients.
yeah.
They also have lots of fillers, and we know what fillers do. They cause cancer, they cause certain things. They're cheap to make the product and just push it out and
Right.
sell it in mass quantities. So they're not the best as far as that filler ingredient aspect goes. They also just don't take a lot of things into consideration, what can cause trauma to the skin and so forth. I think a lot of people, what I hear a lot of times when clients come in and they're not in like that professional skincare realm yet,
Yeah.
they use a lot of CeraVe and they use
Hmm.
a lot of St. Ives.
Okay.
And where CeraVe can be kind of okay, it's really not doing much for your skin. And I think it dries your skin out more than anything.
Mm.
Like kind of like that whole Carmex theory where we're
Yeah.
just like drying it out to just continue using it type of thing.
Totally.
Also, like St. Ives uses things in their products like crushed almonds and so forth, which that is actually really traumatizing to the skin. It creates these little nicks in your skin and can be reasons for breakouts, can be reasons for flaky areas,
Yeah.
things like that. So taking that into consideration when you're looking at drugstore product, I think is going to be huge. There are, like anything else, different levels, different price tiers of professional product. And, we can go into a lower price realm, something like a Veda. We carry a Veda there at Columbia Gorge Salon and Spa, or something a little bit higher end where it does cost a little bit more, but it's super effective, would be like
Yeah.
hydropeptide, which is what I use in my facials for the most part.
Yeah. And the one thing I've noticed, like with the more professional products, they're going to be more concentrated and like like a little bit goes a long way. Yeah. So like your
Yes.
dollar you're spending, you
Yes.
get like that longevity
Yes.
versus like water junk
hmm
and garbage.
I think everybody thinks more is better.
Yeah.
More is not always better. I tell my clients all the time concentrated product will go a long way. It will last you 3 to 4 months if you use it appropriately.
Right.
Little pea size amounts of that professional product. Otherwise, you're not going to like the feel of it, anyways. Um, a little bit will get you the results that you're looking for because it has that high concentration of those active ingredients that are actually going to make a difference in your skin's
Right. All
appearance.
the good stuff,
Yeah.
the good shit.
Yes.
Okay, so if we're on a budget,
hmm
what are the top 3 things you would say, "Listen, if you're gonna spend your money on this."
Yes, all my clients that come in using drugstore skincare or just no skincare routine,
Yeah,
and they're like, "How do I get started without spending $1 million?" Would be okay. 3 products. It's really hard because, of course, I think every step
different.
of the routine is important.
Yeah,
But 3 products to get you started would be a cleanser. You got to wash your face, and you got to wash it with something effective,
yeah.
and then a moisturizer. Getting that hydration process going. What a lot of people don't understand, even acneic clients, they
Mhm.
don't realize that like they are acneic because their skin is lacking hydration.
Mm.
There's different types of acne and things that go into that. So a good moisturizer, whether it be oil free because you're acneic and oily, or something more heavy because you do run super dry like I do.
Yeah, me
Um,
too. It's like the desert.
dude, I think it comes with age, but
Yeah.
but yes, um, yeah. So cleanser, moisturizer, and then SPF. If you're
Okay.
not wearing SPF, all these other treatments that you're doing,
Yeah.
you got to wear SPF. And even when it's cloudy, even when you're in Oregon and you're like, "Oh, the sun's not out," like it's still there. It
Right.
still penetrates through the clouds. It's still affecting your skin. And so I would say those 3 products you really really need to protect the skin, care for the skin. And then we can add in exfoliants, toners, serums, things like that.
Okay,
Or
cool.
Target treat.
I like it, I like it. Are there certain brands that you wish your clients would never touch again? Like, just don't ever do it?
I mean, I kind of already said the 2 of them.
Okay.
Especially St. Ives,
Yeah. Girl, I used to
CeraVe.
use the shit out of St. Ives. That freaking apricot
It's so
scrub.
bad for
Oh
you.
my God, I'm not even joking. I'd be in the shower like, yeah,
Yes,
look at me washing my
exfoliate.
face. This is so good.
Yeah, I think young people
Tiny
think they need to
tears
exfoliate way
everywhere.
too much. Yes.
Crazy. Okay, so no St. Ives.
Mhm.
And then you said CeraVe.
Yes, if I can get people off it, I
Yeah.
understand why they use it. I do. It's not, and I would rather you be using something than nothing. So I'm not trying to hate on people,
Right.
but we
But
can definitely find professional product at a lower price point if that's what you need to get started.
okay, I like it. I like it. And you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but I feel like now there's such a, and maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's YouTube, where it's like people are doing things at home because they can have access to these tools.
Mhm.
What are there things that you would say, yeah, okay, like you should buy this PMD face wash,
Yeah.
right? And like scrub it up at home, but
Mhm.
don't do this. Like, give
Yeah.
me the good and the bad.
I mean, I think that there are certain things that can people can do, and that there's certain levels of education that they can take to make sure that they're doing it in a safe manner.
Yeah.
So, like using extraction tools, or like the PMD devices, where you can kind of do your own gentle dermabrasion, things like that, to
Mhm.
prolong a professional treatment. I think those devices are really great. I think red light therapy done at home can be really awesome. Those red light therapy
Yeah,
masks are so in right now, and I think there's a difference between what you get professionally and what you get
sure.
at home, just like anything else, but that they are super effective and super great to use to prolong a service that you're getting from an esthetician. Um, and then, do some of your own treatments. But things like dermaplaning your face, don't dermaplane your face. It's
Yeah.
just not good. If you're going to extract and use like a BT from biotherapeutic and like extract by, scraping out
Yeah, scary.
your pores and so forth, like
Mhm.
you could probably do that if with like education, with talking with your esthetician, making sure that that's good for you and your skin. But yeah, I just wouldn't take a blade to your face.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, you know, the microdermabrasion that you get from like a PMD device
Mhm.
is going to be great for like in between professional services, but it's not going to be a professional service or up to that standard. I think like the PMD devices that just cleanse your face
Yeah.
are really great things to be using. But yeah, stay away from beef tallow. I'm not going to lie, you're just clogging your pores, and I'm not sure how much absorption is really happening. It would be good for like eczema skin, or like I would maybe not even skin on your face,
Right.
but anybody who doesn't have like severe dry skin or eczema happening, it's just probably not really great for. I'm trying to think of other trends. Can you think of any that you've seen?
I feel like those are the big ones. Like,
Hmm.
I feel like I keep it. It's been a minute, but I had been seeing a lot of what is that snail mucin or
Oh
something, and I
my
was like,
gosh.
what is that snail snot? Like, is that
I
what you're
I
saying?
don't know.
Like,
I think there's I think
mm-mm.
there's professional products that can
Like,
take care of what you
you
need
know
to
what
take
I'm
care
saying?
of.
I was like,
People get
girl,
real
I
creative.
barely started washing my face. I didn't put no snail nothing
Yeah.
on. You got me messed up. Okay, well that kind of segues perfect because facials.
Hmm.
Um, aside from the obvious like self-care, self-love, let me take care of myself aspect that we love, what reasons should we be working facials into our lives?
Yeah, super great question, because a lot of the people are like, well, what's the point if I'm not just going to relax and get a little bit of a shoulder massage or
Right.
have just hands on my face and make me feel calm, things like that. I think the way that you should look at professional skincare when it comes to an esthetician is a 20/80 feel. So 20% of your overall skin appearance is going to be coming from that esthetician, that professional treatment that you're getting every 4 to 6 weeks. When it comes to the 80%, that's you taking care of it at home. But
Mm,
how do you know what to use, or if you're using it appropriately, if you're not speaking to a professional? And
okay.
our skin changes just like anything else. Like you use the same shampoo for a really long time, your scalp changes, right? And you need to switch up your
Right,
shampoo.
yeah.
Our skin is the same way. We face different times of our life where we have hormones that are happening that we're kind of targeting that, or maybe we're in the winter so our skin is super dry and we're really focusing on hydration, or now I've got some sunspots because I'm starting to age and I lacked SPF 10 years ago and now it's starting to show on my skin, right?
Yep.
So like those things, it's really important to check in with your esthetician those every 4 to 6 weeks, not only to get your professional treatment that
Yeah.
you can't get at home, like we've talked about, but also make sure that what you can do at home, you're doing effectively, and that
Gotcha.
as new problems arise, we're making adjustments in your
Yeah, you can
skincare routine.
customize it and switch it up.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. So, are there reasons why certain people shouldn't get facials?
So I would say that when somebody has like a severe skin condition of any kind,
Hmm.
there are times where we need to just refer you to a dermatologist. There's not much an esthetician can do for you.
Yeah.
Super cystic acne, things like that. Like you probably need to go see a dermatologist. I've had people with skin conditions, and I can't remember the name of the condition right now, so please bear with me.
No
But like
worries.
where they're essentially allergic to the sun and it turns their skin purple. So like there's not things that
Oh,
I can do for that,
yeah.
right? There are things that I can help you protect your skin. I can help you with what you have, make it glow, things like that.
Yeah.
But there are certain skin conditions that, yeah, like it is that higher level professional that where it's a little bit more medical
Yeah.
that needs that attention.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say that any like clients shouldn't at all get facials. It would just be that some might need a little bit more
Gotcha.
out of the experience.
Right. We can kind of handle that and then go back to, okay, let's do these like maintenance facials, but go
Yeah.
see another source.
Yes.
Okay, so after facials, because this is something I've gotten facials before a few times, but I always wonder like what what should we be planning for? Like how long do you need to wait to put makeup on, for
Hmm.
example?
Yeah. Putting makeup on directly after a facial just shouldn't happen.
Mhm.
I mean, I have people ask me all the time, like, "Oh, can I wear a light something?" And I'm like, if you can go 24 to 48 hours, please do,
Okay.
especially the more intense the treatment is.
Yeah,
If
because
you're
everything's
getting,
all open and
yeah, like
okay.
you're just gonna put things on it that is going to irritate it further, and then you're going to wonder and you're going to think that it was the facial that did that,
Totally.
or things like that. So I would say not wearing makeup for 24 to 48 hours is really important. If it's like a tinted SPF, like that's a different story. It's focused on skincare. There are also makeup lines that focus on skincare. So like
Mhm.
leaning towards those when you go into the makeup realm anyways, I think is super important. I think again, just kind of consulting with your esthetician about what type of facial you're getting and what your goals are. Because, if you use retinol, but you want a microdermabrasion treatment, I'm going to need you to stop using that retinol for 5 to 7 days before you come to me. And then
Okay.
you can't use it for 5 to 7 days after you leave me. If you come
Gotcha.
in for a super strong exfoliant treatment, you're not going to want to do a chemical peel at home before you do that, right?
Yeah.
Or after you do that. So thinking about those exfoliation practices and how they work best with your professional skincare that you're going in for
Mhm.
is really important to consult with your esthetician, just based on the treatment that you're getting in your own skin type. Some people can handle it, like they can go 3 to 5 days and stop the retinol. They don't need to do the full 5 to 7,
Yeah.
things like that. But yes, you need to be aware of staying moisturized after a facial service, staying with SPF after a facial service, depending on the type of facial that you're getting and the exfoliation that you're receiving, like what you need to stop before you come in, what you need to not use until
Yeah.
a
See, I
week
didn't even think about
after.
that. Like long before you
hmm
go in.
And
Okay.
a good esthetician will be telling you that. They'll message you before you come in. Hey, if they have an intake form and it asks you the last time that you exfoliated, things like that,
Yeah.
to where maybe we don't do certain things that time if your skin's not prepared for it. But just like anything else, you can build up tolerance to it. So, like, my first time seeing somebody and they want a microdermabrasion service, I might start them out on just a regular signature facial, learn their skin a little bit, learn about them, their skin goals, their skin routine, and then I can recommend that dermabrasion. And then I start with a really low form of that dermabrasion because I can control the level of treatment with how high my suction is, how abrasive my diamond tip is, things like that.
Mm.
And kind of build up the exfoliation from there. So, what somebody's skin can tolerate who's been receiving professional treatments for some time is going to
Yeah.
be different from somebody starting out.
That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know me, I just have to ask the question. So makeup is a no, 24 to 48 hours.
hmm
What about sweating? Whether we're at the gym, whether we're like doing all the things, like how long do we need to wait before we're sweating it up?
Again, 24 to 48 hours if you
Okay.
can. I've seen people, especially like with dermaplane, dermabrasion, a lot with dermaplane because we're dealing with hair follicles
Hmm.
a lot when it comes to dermaplane. There's things that can happen when you sweat and you have that activity induced heat
Yeah.
that happens on the skin that can be really damaging, and then you can create a rash or folliculitis or just things like that that aren't going to be the best
Hmm.
for your skin. So you're not going to get the most out of your treatment. So if you can wait 24 to 48 hours to have like that strenuous exercise where you're really getting hot, getting sweaty,
Yeah.
that would be best. There are also products that, like, typically an SPF product that
Mhm.
doesn't just help force UV rays, it does help like with activity induced heat and so forth. So if you need to go to the gym, if you're an avid gym goer, you're somebody who goes
Or you
every
need to
day,
get down.
yeah. Or if you need to get down, because some people can't wait. But if you've been
I
married for 10 years, you might be able to wait, but I don't know. She's single.
love it. Single and waiting. So we don't have to worry about that here, but you never know. I like to cover all the bases for my ladies.
I love
Some of
that.
us may be busier than others. Um, okay, so 48 hours really before you do anything. Just
Really?
let it breathe. Just let
hmm
it marinate.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm glad you talked about dermaplaning and microdermabrasion because what is the difference between the two? Like,
Yeah.
what is that all about?
They're both advanced forms of exfoliation.
Yeah.
They both use a physical, mechanical form of exfoliation.
Hmm.
So, dermaplane is where you'll use a surgical blade to exfoliate the dead skin, unclog the pores, and remove vellus hair. Vellus hair is all the peach fuzz.
Yeah.
Some people have more than others. It bothers some people more than it does others. It also it makes it hard for your skincare to absorb effectively.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it hard for your makeup to set as well as that you would like it to. So that is the dermaplane. It's the
Okay.
surgical blade. We're exfoliating the skin, removing dead skin, unclogging pores of sebum and debris, and then removing vellus hair.
And that's the one with the blades that people are doing at home on their own, and they absolutely should not.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because I
Yes.
see them all the time, and I'm just like, I don't know. I
Mhm.
don't know. That seems sketch.
Well, did you know that those blades are disposable? Like, you know how people, like, save them and
Yeah,
are
you're just
reusing
supposed to
them?
use it like once.
Yeah, and, like, even when I do a professional dermaplane service and I use the surgical blade,
Yeah.
I change that blade 2, 3, sometimes 4 times throughout your facial. I don't
Oh,
use the same
see, that is scary
blade.
then.
It harbors bacteria. It's just not the best. Also, just like how dull the blade gets, again,
Yeah.
you're just creating abrasions on the skin surface instead of actually exfoliating. You're creating more of a problem than taking care of the issue. So,
Okay.
dermaplane is strictly that mechanical form of exfoliation.
Okay.
Microdermabrasion, depending on the form that you do, there's dry and wet, and I do wet
Hmm.
dermabrasion. So that is where I use a I do 2 passes with it. I use the biotherapeutic, dermabrasion Trinity machine, and that is where we use and infuse a chemical exfoliant while we're using that physical exfoliant, and then we infuse a brightening serum or a hydrating serum for our second pass.
Mm.
So I do a wet dermabrasion. I think it's less abrasive on the skin because, again, just creating skin trauma
Yeah,
is
that
not
makes
gonna get you
sense.
the results that you would like, but, there are 2 forms of dermabrasion, not only wet and dry, but also diamond tip and crystal.
Oh,
Crystals, like, shoots little crystals at the skin to exfoliate, and it can be a little bit messy, you can get crystals everywhere. I
is
do
there pain
diamond
with
tip.
it?
It should you should
Like, what's
not feel
this
pain.
shooting? Like, what do you?
So
You know what I mean? I'm like, what do
it's different.
you?
Again, I'm gonna be
Like a
more
trickle?
not a trickle, it is, like, forcefully hitting your skin surface,
Okay.
but it shouldn't feel anything more than, like, a cat licking your face or
Oh, okay.
licking your skin.
Okay.
It's just kinda like sandpaper-ish,
Yeah.
like, not super abrasive sandpaper.
Okay.
I don't use that form, I'm
You
not
do
as
diamond.
familiar, I do diamond tip.
Okay.
So, the form of dermabrasion that I do is using suction to pull your skin into the diamond tip. Not every form of dermabrasion does that, but again, quality machines, quality products, that's kind of what I like to focus on.
Hmm.
It uses suction to kind of pull that skin into the diamond tip and exfoliate the skin physically, mechanically that way,
Okay.
but also infusing the chemical exfoliant as well, because exfoliation is best when you're doing both. So,
Gotcha.
a lot of the times with dermaplane, I'll couple it, depending on the client's skin and what we build up to and goals, I'll couple it with a chemical peel. So I'll dermaplane the skin, then chemical peel the skin.
Oh,
Um, and so then you're kind of getting
I'm
the best
afraid
of
of
both
chemical
worlds.
peels.
I think that they can be scary.
Yeah.
I also am not an advanced esthetician,
Uh-huh.
so I don't do the peels that, like, actually
Yeah.
peel your skin off. The chemical peels that I'm talking about are, like, 20% glycolic peels, lactic acid peels, salicylic acid, things like different combinations of that. I don't do, like, Jesner peels, which is the ones that, you
Yeah,
know,
with the after pictures
use
from
to peel.
hell,
Mhm,
I'm like, "What is happening? Why do you look like
mhm.
a burn victim? And
Ye
how long? And why do you
Yeah,
want me to pay money for that?" Like, that's
and it can be
scary.
great. It can be great.
Right.
But again, for the professionals who have had that training.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that's not me.
Gotcha, gotcha. So I looked over your website because I wasn't familiar with everything that you do. The LED treatment.
Yes.
What is that all about?
So LED is really huge right now. I'm sure you've seen it in, like, tanning salons,
Yeah.
mixed in tanning
Well,
beds.
like you said, those masks that are like at home, that
Yeah.
those look cool.
Or even, like, the drainage tools that kind of infuse the LED lights in
Oh,
them.
I
Have you
haven't
seen
seen them,
those? Those
huh?
are really nice too. LED light stimulates at the cellular level.
Okay.
So there's red light and blue light that's really effective in skincare. Red light will be very collagen stimulating. It will be very anti-aging,
Mhm.
anti-inflammatory. Anybody who gets, like, super red skin or anything, I like to do LED light after I've done a dermabrasion service and things like that
Yeah.
to help kind of tame the skin, but also help the anti-aging process. And
Mm.
then there's also blue light would be for your acneic clients to help kill acne causing bacteria
Okay.
and keep it from spreading across the face. So um, the light that I use, again, from biotherapeutic,
Uh-huh.
that one's more high end, and I can actually do both lights at the same time. I can do a combination if
Oh, that's dope.
necessary, or one or the other, depending on the client's needs.
Okay.
Um, Things to look out for with that would be like number of bulbs, number of lumens, how intense is the light that you're receiving. The more intense, the better, the more effective that you're stimulating that cell.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. And that you were saying those at-home treatments where you can get those masks, they're not gonna be as high level as what we can come get from you, but at home, like, in between getting your, like, the big shebang, those you would say are kosher to,
Yes.
like, dabble in at home.
Absolutely,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool.
Really great. Any LED exposure, like light therapy in that sense, is going to be great for the skin. Um, Again, you know, if you're getting like a $200 mask that you're putting on your face at home, it's
Yeah,
not going to be as effective as like my $4,500 machine with all the lights and all the,
totally. Yeah.
lumens.
So we still
So,
need to see the expert,
yes,
but the in between we can, like, maintain.
yes,
Okay, so sounds like the old lady over here needs a red light,
yes,
like
you do.
stat,
Everybody does.
like yesterday. Okay, so waxing.
Hmm.
So you guys all know I had
Oh,
my first Brazilian wax with my girl here.
we did that.
So make sure that you subscribe because we will be putting that vlog out there so everyone can experience my first wax with me and my bestie. But so I do want to get into waxing because after having it done, I already since then have thought of a million more questions. But overall waxing first off, what are the benefits of waxing versus shaving? Like why why should we go one way or the other?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of has experienced a con of shaving at one point or another. We've
Yeah.
razor burn, ingrown hairs, like all of that grows back fairly quickly. There's no like what's the word I'm looking for? When you wax and you wax consistently, you'll have less hair over time. That doesn't really necessarily happen if you're just shaving
Yeah.
and so forth. So, shaving, we're just cutting it at the surface. Waxing, we're pulling it out at the follicle.
And
So,
are you seriously
yeah, it can be a little painful in sensitive
pulling at the
areas.
follicle? Are there reasons why a person shouldn't wax? Like, mm, I should
um,
avoid.
It depends, like, everybody's skin reacts a little bit differently, and if we're
Mm,
talking specifically about the Brazilian area, I haven't
mhm.
really experienced anyone that shouldn't get a wax.
Cool.
There's accommodations for everyone in that realm. I'm sure, there's medical conditions and so forth that you need to look out for, but that's always consulting with your physician. I would say that waxing in that area is fine. There's going to be other people who maybe react when you wax the skin on their face. So,
Mhm.
like, I just had a client this last week who had a big reaction after I waxed her face for the first time.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of recommend dermaplane and so forth like that. So it just kind of depends. We're
On
all
the
a little bit different.
area and their skin type.
Yes.
Okay.
And how they react.
So you mentioned it, my nemesis, ingrown hairs.
Hmm.
What what can we do to prevent them ahead of time?
Hmm.
And then if we do and this is like whether you're shaving or waxing, I just hate them altogether. What can we do to prevent them? And then if we do have them, what's the best way to get rid of them? Because I know you're not supposed to be messing with them. You're
No,
just
don't
making
pick
things
them.
worse. Right.
People pick them and then
Yeah.
it creates this other issue. And that's when it gets really inflamed and nasty for you. I would say exfoliate the coochie.
Okay.
You gotta
Yep.
exfoliate. People, it's skin just like anywhere else. The way that you would exfoliate the skin on your face, you need to exfoliate that skin that you're creating trauma with by either waxing or shaving. So stay away from scented things.
Hmm.
Loofahs are great. Mitts are great. Things like Dermalogica's daily microfoliant is great because it
Hmm.
doesn't have a lot of fragrance or things like that. That's going to irritate that area.
Yeah.
But exfoliation before, after, all of that, of course, you're going to wait a couple days before, after, because waxing, shaving is a form of exfoliation
Hmm.
in and of itself. So you want to make sure that you're not creating any sensitivities, but that will help prevent it. Once you get them, that's also kind of why people wax, is to prevent. So when we wax and we're pulling it completely out, we're avoiding where we're cutting it at the surface. And when we cut it at the surface, we can break hairs, they can
Hmm.
grow in differently. So, again, that's kind of like the difference. I think we've had this conversation before, especially when I was doing your wax, the difference between using soft wax in that area and using hard wax in that area.
Right.
Hard wax can create broken hairs. Just because you're applying it to a big surface, it shrinks wraps the hair and it's not adhering to the skin surface. Um,
Gotcha.
when you apply soft wax, you apply it in the direction of hair growth and you pull it away from direction of hair growth. You have a lot more control on breakage that can happen,
Mm.
which is why a lot of the reason why I use soft wax that, and it's just a little bit more thorough when it comes to the more finer baby hairs.
Yeah.
Um, so anything that you can do to prevent breaking the hair off and really truly ripping it out is going to prevent an ingrown hair.
Okay.
Um, Things that you can do, again, there are at home devices like high frequency devices.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say consult your professional, see your esthetician.
Yeah.
A lot of the times when I notice that clients have ingrown hairs when they first start coming to see me, typically, or the one here or there because they've missed some exfoliation or they've been like people go on vacation and they've gone to humid climates
Oh, sure.
and there's like additional rubbing and
Right.
sweating that happens that creates.
Sweaty kitties.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Kitties
Mm-hmm.
get sweaty. They do. They do. And you can create some issues. So, high frequency is a really great way to kill that bacteria.
Okay.
I do that complimentary if I notice that there's, an issue going on with the client. And then it usually just stays at bay with the soft wax. And I don't typically, like, once I start seeing them, I use it. But then once we resolve the issue, I don't really have to go back very much unless somebody
Gotcha.
goes to Thailand or something like that,
Right.
which I had a client do. And then she needed some high frequency.
Yeah, because
So,
that's your karma for fun travel is you come back with sweaty kitties.
yes. But I want to touch on a little bit because you
Yeah.
mentioned it.
Mhm.
Don't mess with your ingrown hair.
Yeah.
That's your you have
I'm a picker,
bacteria
so,
in your
like, tell
hands and on
yeah.
your tweezers and people aren't being clean and they're not sanitizing appropriately and then they create like bacteria in that hair follicle which then creates an infected hair follicle and that's when you get those really nasty ingrowns. It's an infected
Yeah.
ingrown hair.
So
So
angry.
if you're going to pick, because I know we have obsessant pickers out there, try
Mhm.
not to.
Mhm.
But if you're going to, don't use dirty tools, don't use dirty hands,
Yeah.
and certainly put some sort of ointment on it afterwards.
Gotcha.
You don't need to like lather, you don't need to do it forever,
Yeah.
but a little bit of Neosporin goes a long way when it comes to something like that
Okay.
to prevent the infection from taking place.
Yeah, because that's sketch for
Mhm.
sure. Because I get like I know I've definitely like gotten them like up above, right? Like your
Mhm.
bikini line rather than like not all up in the bits, but along there where it's like in my mind, okay, the hair is like in there stuck. So I'm just like, let me get this bitch out. That way you can just like breathe. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so we should just let it.
Either
Will it just eventually work itself out? Like
it does.
exfoliate over it,
It
keep it
does.
clean, and then it'll just
Yes.
shimmy?
Get waxed and
Yeah.
just see your professional, let them
Mhm.
do it, or just do it really cleanly and don't pick and pick and pick. If it's not coming out, it's not ready to come out. Like
Right.
just like in facials, I'm not going to get every blackhead clear every time you come. Like it's just not going to happen. Some aren't ready.
Yeah.
Our skin kind of forces that out, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So don't dig and dig and dig and dig. And like if it's not ready, it's not ready.
Okay.
Or consult a professional, let them go in with their tools and extract in a professional manner in a clean environment.
Gotcha. How do you feel about extractions? Do you love doing them? God, that's
Any
such a skin
extraction?
person thing.
It is. It
Oh,
is. I do like it.
oh.
It's cool.
You be watching that pimple popper. I know you do.
I do.
Oh God, see, I
I
can't.
do. It's soothing.
In beauty school, I was like, they're like, oh, you should do skin too. I'm like, I ain't popping
Not
other
for
people's
you.
things. But yeah, I'm glad we have people like you. I'm
We're
glad.
needed.
Yep, you are. You are a necessity in our lives. So what do you feel like is more popular, Brazilian or bikini?
I mean, I do both.
Yeah.
It just is gonna depend on the person and their comfortability level. Honestly, the way that I came into the industry and my job, lots of Brazilians. I mean,
Mhm.
yes, there are still some bikini. Some people like to leave some hair, so then they call it a bikini, but then they want like their crack wax and stuff.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, it's kind of more of a Brazilian or like an extended bikini is kind of what we call it. So people don't think that you're going to take all of their hair,
Yeah.
that type of thing. But I do more Brazilians. Like if you're going to do it, let's just do it
Right.
and get your hair gone. But some people are just, modest and they want to keep their underwear on during the waxing. That's totally fine. We're all different
Mhm.
levels of comfortability and so forth. And then we just kind of pull the underwear to the side, do the bikini so that when they go to the beach or whatever,
Yeah, where
they
it's
don't have
censored
any
or
hairs
whatever.
coming out of their kitty area.
Okay. All right. Are there shapes? Right.
Yeah.
So what are the most popular shapes?
I would say right now would be the triangle, like a small triangle. I've even had a client call it like a floating triangle, which I thought was really funny because like we naturally triangle right there.
Yeah.
So you kind of just start it there. But like I've had somebody, which is actually funny, it's
Floating.
somebody that
Yeah.
you've sent to me,
Mhm. Mhm.
have
Yep.
said that they wanted a floating
Yep.
triangle, and
That's
that kind
why.
of boggled my mind.
Yep. Because I feel like the floating one like doesn't go all the way down, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like up here and then there's like still some like
Hair.
non-existent hair. Like, okay, so it's
Yeah.
floating, I
I've
guess.
learned
Flying.
to like that probably means they just don't want hair where it tucks into the hood
Yeah.
area,
Yeah.
I guess is what you would say. But yeah, I would say like small triangles are the most common like thing
Shape.
shape that I leave with hair.
Okay.
Most people go full bear, and I think that's like kind of like a decade thing.
Yeah.
It was like bush,
Yep.
landing strip, triangle, bear.
Take it off.
Like my older, because I do 56-year-old
Yeah.
Brazilians,
Yeah.
and I think they like more of like that triangle or strip.
Mhm.
Leave me a little strip.
Yeah, a little landing strip.
They want something.
Yeah.
Younger generation just wants it there.
Wants it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I wanted the strip because in my mind, I was like, I don't want to look like I'm like 5. Like, I was like creeping me out. But now that I've done it afterwards, I was like, well, what the hell
Why
is
did
the
I
point?
leave something?
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, where are we landing? Like, I think the zone is pretty clear where you're going. So,
Like your own little airport marshal.
right.
Here
Like
it
I was like
is.
literally it was like, "Oh, I guess that's really kind of pointless. It's really else everything's all gone, so we could just let go of the strip next time." Things to know. What about when you're like cycle? What's the best times in our cycle to come in for a kitty
Yeah.
wax?
I think it's important to time it with your cycle.
Yeah.
If you're 5 days before your period, you're probably going to be more sensitive. If you're on your period, you're certainly going to be more sensitive.
Yep.
If you're that couple days after your period, you're going to be more sensitive. So if you can time it on the in
Mhm.
between period,
Okay.
that is best. It doesn't always work like that. Life's not like that. Not everybody's on that timed birth control pattern,
Right.
whatever the case may be. So, like, if we need to do it and you're on your period or whatever, we totally can. You just are going to be a little bit more sensitive.
Mhm.
And I always tell people just take a little Tylenol or ibuprofen before you
Okay.
come, and then that will help you. But
Yeah.
the more consistently you get waxed,
The
the less
less.
painful it's going to be for you,
Okay.
no matter what. Because every time that we're pulling that out, we're softening that hair follicle. Less and less hair comes back. Everybody thinks it comes back thicker. No, it doesn't.
Mhm.
It's actually less dense.
Yeah.
So,
It
yeah,
seems less for sure.
even just
And
one time.
I mean,
Nice.
and I was 2 days out from starting my period.
Oh, yeah.
So, and
That's
I
healthy.
mean, yes, it was not like a walk in the park,
Hmm.
but now I'm like, "Oh, I can't wait to go like a week out or something." You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Like it'll be better. I started with the bad. I started with the hard.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so what can we do beforehand to get the best results? Like what should we be prepping?
I think being prepared to help your waxer
Yeah.
is going to go a long way. I've had first time Brazilian waxers or to come in for a wax,
Mhm.
and they are really apprehensive, and I totally understand why. It's a very intimate area,
Yeah.
but they don't want to open their legs necessarily. They don't want to frog for me all the way.
Yeah.
They don't hold, you know, bellies or, certain things to
Yeah.
where we can have the skin a little bit more taut. It's a little bit less painful. So be prepared, I would say, to help
Yeah.
your waxer.
Get
Try,
in there.
yes, try to
It's
get
your
over
bits
it.
anyways. So like
Yeah.
honestly, I'd rather be in my bits more than you have to be in my bits.
I mean, I don't mind being in your bits, but
Clearly.
but I think preparing yourself to help your waxer
Yeah.
is going to go a long way. I think taking the ibuprofen beforehand is going to go a long way,
Okay.
especially if it's your first time. I think being consistent about waxing is
Mhm.
going to go a long way.
Okay. And exfoliating
Yes,
beforehand. I do remember you telling me that before.
days beforehand. Just
Okay.
have exfoliation in your routine, period.
Okay.
2 to 3 times a week,
Yeah.
and stop at that a couple days before you come.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. And then after, I'm sure it's similar to skincare after facials after, what do we need to be avoiding? Because, again, how long do we have to wait to get busy? Because not
Mhm.
that I'm getting busy, but you might be getting busy.
Mhm.
And like, what about like chlorine? Like, can I go swimming right after? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? What's the jam?
I mean, you should wait a couple days.
Okay.
Really, if you can wait a couple days, especially like hot tub actions and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, Plan for it. Don't come like the day before you leave for a Mexico vacation.
Right.
Come like 5 days before you leave.
Okay.
And it also is going to depend, is it your first wax or have you been consistent? That's
Sure. That makes
also
sense.
going to make, go into play. You're going to be sore. We
Yeah.
are, and like the longer your hair is, the more sore. So again, keeping consistent with it or making sure that you're trimmed. I know some estheticians will trim for you.
Hmm.
I do a little bit if you're like leaving a triangle and stuff, but I'm not going to spend a bunch of time trimming you before I wax you. We're
Yeah.
just going to wax it. And that can be a little bit more painful because it creates more tension when you're pulling that hair out.
Okay.
So,
So what's the ideal length we should come in with?
I
Because
mean,
we are going to trim before and handle it.
I mean, as long as it's a 1/4 inch, like the size of a grain of rice, we can wax it.
Okay.
I don't need much more than that.
Okay.
If it is a little bit more than that, that's great. But a lot of first time waxers will come in and they haven't done anything in a few weeks.
Right. Like
And
the
we've got like
70s
long
called and
hair.
they want their bush back.
Yeah, and it's
Hmm.
gonna hurt and it is painful. And I tell them, I'm really sorry, this is gonna
Yeah.
hurt you more than it needs to
Okay.
because your hair is
Right.
way too long. But
Right. Because you came in with a ponytail.
yeah.
Just
We
kidding.
can braid it.
Oh, right. Like, what the hell are we doing? Add some beads. We can cord
Yeah,
roll
that'd be
that.
funny.
Okay. So, you guys, a couple weeks ago, we had Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
It was so good. It was so good. So I went to Erica's and picture this room full of grown ass adult couples, okay? Husbands and wives. And I don't even know how we got on the subject. I feel like you asked me like how my waxing, what like how I was doing or something. And we got on the subject of flowers and hot dogs.
I don't even know why I called it those things.
But I'm here for it.
I don't
And I'm
even know why
telling
I
you
called it
that,
those
like,
things.
the husbands and wives, they're like, well, do I have a
It
hot
was
dog? Do I have a
there were
flower? And the husbands are like sweating,
Yeah.
like, I don't know. What do I
Photos were
say?
coming
Oh, it
out,
was so
feelings
good.
were
It was,
getting hurt.
it was so great. It was
It
so
was a whole
great.
thing. I mean,
But let's talk about it.
okay.
What's the deal? Whether maybe there's other words, I don't know, but I'm here for flowers and hot dogs because visually it makes sense. So
At the time, it made sense to me as well.
Yep.
I think Erica with a little bit of tequila in her system is a different Erica, and she's willing to say more things. But and I think I don't even hot dog. Okay, it does work, but like I actually got that from, and this actually, never mind. I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna go there. I got it. A male said it. That's the way that
Mm.
he described an inward vagina.
Yep. Okay.
So that's why I say hot dog because
Yeah.
my mind just goes to that because
I mean,
heard him
visually
say
it makes
that and I was
sense.
like,
When you explained it, I was like, oh,
you're like in a bun.
Yeah.
It's like in a bun. Flowers are a little bit more open and out. Like
Okay.
it's like an outing in any belly button, like
yeah.
an inward
Yep.
vagina or an
Yep. Or
outward
you're
vagina.
like
So
blossoming.
that's what I was referring to in that moment is that
So
hot
funny.
dogs, you're kind of tucked in, you're in a
Yeah.
bun, and then flowers, you're kind of open and budding and out.
I love it. I love it. And they have to be waxed differently,
Yes,
right? The
yeah.
process is a little different between the two.
Yeah.
That's really why we were talking about it. Was like, and of course I was like, am I a hot dog or a flower? Like, what are we doing?
I don't know if you
And
wanna be
again, the
exposed.
wives and the husbands were like freaking hilarious. I was dying.
I
Like,
could not believe the husband that was like, "You have a little bit of a flower." And she's like, "I do not." It's not even a bad thing. It's
yeah,
just-
but it was great. And his face, you could tell it was like, I can't take it back. I don't know what to say. I like flowers. I like your flower.
It's
like
pretty.
it's okay.
He literally was saying it's pretty.
Yep. It's the prettiest flower I ever seen.
It's so
So
bad.
good. So
It's
good.
so bad.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Sorry, I had to bring it up because it's hilarious and it makes sense.
Yes. Well, like anything else, anatomy needs to be taken into consideration.
Totally.
If I'm pulling and waxing and ripping something
Yeah.
in an area, that's really sensitive area. And the more outer you are, the more folds there are.
Right.
And you got to get in there because you came for a service. You want the hair gone. So I'm going to
Yep.
get in there and I'm going to get it out. But I just have to be a little bit more careful with some anatomies.
Mhm.
Or, when it's a hot dog, I have to kind of pull the bun open so
Yeah.
that we can get the inside hair. It's just all part of
Totally.
the
Again,
process.
reason why we need to be willing to like fully frog
Yes.
or
Hold
hold
this.
the stick or the skin, because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't imagine going through the whole experience and then coming home and having a bunch of shit left all up in the nooks and crannies
Yeah.
because I didn't want to like
Mm-hmm.
do the
Yeah.
things.
Or having like an abrasion because the skin wasn't pulled taut because you weren't willing to fully frog, or
Right.
weren't, you maybe were nervous about holding an area of your body out of the way or something
Yeah.
like that, which an esthetician shouldn't rip if that's happening. But it can happen. Like little
Right.
abrasions can happen in those instances, and we just need to be careful.
Okay. I like it. I like it. What about piercings?
Okay. I did see this question
Yeah.
when you sent me the email about what we would be talking about today.
Mhm.
And astronomically enough, I
Mhm.
have not I have not waxed somebody with a piercing.
Oh, okay.
But I imagine that
Yeah.
it would be just like waxing somebody like with a belly button ring, because a lot of times when I do Brazilians, I'll say, "Do you want me to get that for you?" Because
Sure.
some people are a little bit more hairy up their belly than others.
Yep.
And with belly button rings, you just wax around it, and I
Okay.
think it would be the same in that situation where any piercing that is around. I mean, you're not waxing like if
Yeah.
say somebody. I can
Right.
say clit, right? If
Yeah.
somebody
Yeah.
has a clit piercing,
Yeah.
you're not waxing in there anyways.
Right.
So again, you're just careful with the anatomy and moving things out of the way so that you can get as close as you can to that hairline and get
Gotcha.
all the hair from there, but away from the piercing.
Okay.
I do know that there's like other piercings and areas, and I also don't do men, so
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't do men. There are estheticians that do men, and that's
Totally.
totally fine, but I'm not one of them.
Right. We'll leave those
So
to the other ones
yes.
because, yeah, I can't imagine. I've taken those phone calls, you know what I mean? Like salons.
Mhm.
My background from back in the day is working in salons, and it used to crack me up when men would call and they're like, "Do you guys do manzillions?" And I'm like, "No, bro, not
Yeah.
here. Nobody wants to wax your junk for you.
Oof.
Somebody does, but not here."
Not me.
Um,
Well, I've heard some horror stories
yeah, I bet.
because men
Yeah,
can be
men
men.
are men. Okay, so here's the big one because okay, as we are besties, and
Mhm.
P.S. we've worked together for years and years.
Yes.
So Erica knows me really well and knows me well enough to know that farting is my
Oh my god.
absolute
Stop.
nightmare. Okay. So the whole time that I'm getting waxed, did I need to fart? No. But was it at the front of my brain the whole entire time? Like, bitch, don't you do it. Like my butt is like, you were all in my business. I know that has to happen, right? Is it a thing?
I I mean, I've had one fart happen,
Okay.
and it was from somebody that, like, just couldn't control
Yeah,
it, and I, like, don't hold it against them. So,
totally.
I have, like, other than that single instance in the
Yeah.
last 2 years of me waxing buttholes and vaginas,
Yeah.
I've had one fart happen.
Oh my God. See, I imagine it to be happening all the time.
No. If you fart,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, it's probably a
Right. Do
little
we
bit
act like it
embarrassing for
happened?
you.
Do we call it out? Do we like
You could do either or.
pretend like that was, oh, what was that noise?
I
Oh,
you
is that a
know,
mouse?
I
Like,
don't say anything. If you say
mhm,
something, I pride myself on having, like, a super judgment-free zone. I
totally.
think I'm a pretty judgment-free individual. I can understand most things. I fart,
Yeah.
and I don't mind for
Mhm,
I'm somebody who will just rip ass. So,
totally.
like,
Hence
if
why I was like, girl, because we're polar opposites. Yep.
so
Mhm.
so, like, if you fart, it's not the end of the world. Try not
Yeah.
to do it in my face. Maybe warn me, because that's what
Oh
happened was it was in my
my
face.
God, I would die. I would
So
die. I would literally be like, you might only be halfway done, but I'm out. It's time for me to go.
dude, I didn't
I could be covered in wax and I'd be like, and I'm gone.
and that's that.
Yep.
That's a wrap.
Yep. I'll
No more
figure it
waxing my
out.
ass.
Oh my God.
Um, yeah, it's just like you wouldn't sneeze on me if I was giving you a facial, right? You would say, "Hold on, I have
Right.
to sneeze." So, like, if you need to fart, draw attention to it. Say, "Hold on, I got to fart." Like, that would be, I would
Back up, bitch.
appreciate that. Coming in hot. Like,
Oh my God, I'm dead. I am dead.
and I guess like they creep up on you. I get it.
Yeah.
If you draw attention to it, I won't make you feel bad. I'll be like, yeah, no worries. I'll, whatever. If you don't,
So
then I
funny.
won't
Then we're
talk
just gonna
about
act
it.
like
And
it
what
didn't
happens in the
happen.
treatment room stays in the treatment room.
Totally.
Um, other than what we're talking about on this podcast, but no
Yeah.
names are being
Yep.
given.
Nope. Nope.
So it's totally fine. But I think actually one thing that has happened more frequently that people may or may not think about is peeing a little. So
Oh.
like especially on newcomers, people who have just started, like this is their first wax, or
Yeah.
they're just starting to do this. I have had people pee a little. They don't say anything, I don't say anything, but it does happen.
Oh my
Because
Lanta.
the more you brace for impact and you like
Yeah.
tense yourself, and then
Yeah.
I pull, that's when people usually have a little accidental, but that's why we like change the bed every
Yeah.
time.
I mean, oh God.
Mm-hmm.
I would die. I would die. And again,
I
like,
would
I mean, we're
die.
talking about this because it happens. This is
Mm-hmm.
not fucking anomalies. Like, it's
It happens.
normal.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie and say I would die. I would absolutely die. But it
Yeah.
makes sense. Like I hadn't thought that was not one that I had thought
No
of.
one
But
is
especially like,
ever.
what if you've been holding? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, no, I'm gonna be fine. I don't have to go.
I will say
Oh,
most people when they're coming for the service, they'll be like, "I'm gonna use the bathroom really quick," and that's my cue. They're gonna go take a bird bath
yeah.
in the
Yep.
sink really quick and get
Totally.
themselves all cleaned up.
Yep.
So, like, most people usually go to the bathroom, but like we're women, we've had kids, things
Yeah.
happen, we pee a little.
A girl,
It's
we've been talking about peeing a little like for days here. So
happens.
I can't believe that that didn't cross
But
my mind.
yeah, but people, they don't like, I've never had anyone draw attention to it. They've never been like, "Oh, I peed a little."
Yeah.
And once you've waxed somebody for a couple years, you do say things. There are things you're a little bit more open with them than other
Right.
people.
We're more
Yeah,
comfortable.
but I've never had somebody draw attention to it. They probably like wished it away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I'm gonna change my gloves really
Yeah.
quick."
I'm just gonna pretend like that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like I'm not just currently in a little baby puddle. Oh, honeys. Okay, well, it happens,
It
ladies.
happens.
So
It's
know that
okay.
it happens. It's okay. We're just gonna move along.
Mhm.
Okay, so now I have a really crazy burning question
Okay.
because again, you're my best friend and I want to know all the things. We know that people have their like pain kinks.
Okay.
So it totally made me think the other day. I was like, okay, what kind of things have I been thinking about? Have you had somebody? Is that a thing where it's like, ooh, you're rooting around in their bits and like they
You're
like
rooting
it? You
around.
know, like, and then
Rooting.
I'm ripping shit.
Oh
Like, oh, and
no.
you like pain? Like, is that a thing? Because I imagine that that could be a thing.
I don't talk to people about sexual things when I'm waxing them. I
Yeah.
do talk and I do distract because either they're really uncomfortable or the pain in that thing. But I do not talk about sexual things while I'm waxing them.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay.
If somebody has a thought in their mind, which thoughts happen,
Yeah,
and
totally.
sometimes you grab one that you shouldn't, I have no idea.
Sometimes you pick the wrong one.
Sometimes an intrusive thought
Oh my
wins.
God.
I have no clue. I'm certainly not thinking about anything like that.
Yeah.
I hope my clients certainly aren't thinking about anything like
Mhm.
that. But if they are, it's human thing. And like we said, we grab thoughts we shouldn't grab sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
So I don't know. Nobody's ever drawn attention to me. I've never had anybody be like, "Oh yeah, baby, wax me." I want to feel the pain.
Oh, that was good. Ooh, do it again. That's what I had in my
Yeah.
head. You know what I mean? Was like, ooh, I wonder if there's like crazy kinky people that are like,
Not that I've experienced.
oh, why do you get waxed? Because I like it. Because like I like tattoo pain. You know what I mean? I like piercing pain. I think that was kind of where my like mind was like, okay, there's weirdos like me that
Mhm.
like I'm like falling asleep where most people are like, this is so much pain. I'm like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it was not good. Like I wasn't into it, but
I
yeah,
think
it could
that's
be.
again more of like the male realm where I
Mhm.
just don't go.
Yep, yep. We'll leave those to others. Okay, so I know you got some horror stories. At least one good horror story without names or anything identifying. But what's the craziest thing you've had to deal with?
Oh man. I really so I've been very blessed
Mhm.
in my esthetician career. Where I really haven't, especially if we're talking about like Brazilian waxing, is that what you mean?
Just
Or
any
any
kind
horse
of
store?
skin situations, but yes, I mean, of course, my mind goes to, like, you're all up in people's kitties. How crazy has it gotten?
I I'm really lucky. I'm in a really great salon.
Mhm.
I had a clientele gifted to me, so somebody had seen the same people for 25 years was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and handed me their clientele right out of beauty school.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen to everybody. It's a very unique situation. When somebody's had established clients like that, it's,
They're all on a routine of like,
there's
that makes
there's
sense.
no horror story because they've been doing it for 20 years and
Yeah.
now there's just somebody new doing it. I think
Which makes
I'm
sense.
more of a whore to them at that point.
Yeah.
So, I really don't have
Not
anything.
even in beauty school?
In beauty
Nothing
school, you
crazy?
don't do
That's what I
that.
thought.
You watch a video. I did 4 separate certifications to make sure that that was something I was comfortable with before I started doing it.
Yeah.
And I think I mean, I've had some certain skin conditions and so forth where like you have to have a separate side conversation. I probably won't go into that.
Mhm.
But that is a little bit more like, oh, okay, we have more to talk about here and maybe we shouldn't be waxing today type of
Yeah.
thing. But as far as like horror story.
Yeah.
The worst one I have is like my first paying Brazilian client that had a lot of hair and I did not do a good job. And
Oh,
I
okay.
needed to make sure that I was getting more comfortable. And she's still a client to this day. She will be a client forever.
I love it.
She came from the esthetician who gifted me people. She's my age. We actually found out like we didn't go to the same high school, but like one of my best friends went to her high school. So like we had this weird
Small world.
connection.
Yeah.
But and she says all the time, like, we've been through some shit and we're gonna always be fine.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that about her. But she came with a lot of dense hair, and I was fresh to the waxing realm
Nice.
and had not had experience in a lot of dense hair. I took too big of sections. That's probably the worst horror story I have. I barely made it out of that wax alive. She barely made it out of that wax with a vagina. It was insane.
Oh my gosh.
I
love that.
cried, she cried. It was like a 2-hour
Oh,
ordeal.
yeah.
But we got through it, and now she gets perfect Brazilians
Oh
because
my
I
gosh,
took
I love
the
it.
3rd and 4th certification after that
Got
and made sure
it.
that I was good and comfy. But just like anything else, I mean, you got to give yourself grace. You have to
Yeah.
learn. You have to be willing to make those mistakes and get further education so it doesn't happen again. That's probably my biggest horror story that sticks out of my mind. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that to somebody. Oh my God, I
Right.
can't. There was also another time where
Mhm.
somebody had a lot of hair and she wanted me to keep not just a triangle, but like all the way down hair.
Oh, like all like to their butt?
Yeah.
Like hair all the way down?
Yeah. But
Okay.
just like a strip.
Yeah.
This woman, so when you book a Brazilian,
Mhm.
I'm going to take all your hair. And this is when I was newer too. So I learned you have to be really specific and ask a lot of questions to make sure you don't take too much
Yeah.
from somebody who wants some left. Well, this person booked a Brazilian. I didn't ask her if she wanted anything left. And I just started going to town. And her words, not mine, I took her goat beard. Her goat beard.
I'm sorry. A goat
A
beard?
goat beard. And she never came back to me, which is totally fine. Feelings mutual, honey.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah. What a
Yeah.
goat beard.
Goat beard. Which
Okay.
I know I see why, because it was just the way her hair type it was.
Oh
I
my
get why
gosh.
she was called, and the length
I wanted to hold on
and
to
the
that.
non-trim and all that. I should have probably
Wow.
noticed that was, again, when you're new, you got to be willing to make those
Yeah.
mistakes. But
Oh my
yeah,
God, a
took a
goat
goat beard that I
beard.
shouldn't have taken.
Oh,
She
don't you
was
mess
upset.
with the goat
No
beard.
goat beard for that lady
Oh my God.
anymore.
That's
She probably grew it back,
hilarious.
but not with me as her
Wow.
esthetician.
Right. Somebody else can leave your goat beard.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the most horror that I've experienced is really
Okay.
just me learning, which we all have to learn.
Yeah,
So
totally. Okay, well, thanks for letting me get my crazy questions out because, like I said, I had them already, and then when we went and we did it, then I had like 1,000 more. It was like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, this is crazy. So before we wrap up, some of us are getting old. So you had mentioned it before, hormones,
hmm
all the things. So hormonal acne, is
hmm
that typically like just hormonal, like teenager hormonal? Is that coming back once we're getting into menopause? Older lady hormonal? Like
hmm
what can we do with all that? What do we need to know about it? What's
I
coming?
think there's going to be different stages for everyone,
Yeah.
right? I think that we all always have hormones going through our body
Yeah.
based on things that our environment and things that we put in our body and so forth. Everybody's hormones can be at different stages. there could be certain flare-ups and acne. I don't really think there's like a time or an age. It can just happen. Hormone imbalances happen all the time, birth
Right.
controls, things like that. So I think it can happen at any time. Um, or post pregnancy, during
Mm,
pregnancy,
yeah.
I've seen a lot of that as well. I think it's just about um with any acne, it's figuring out where it's coming from and then trying to treat it from there. So a lot of like chin acne can be hormonal acne,
Hmm.
is typically in this area.
Okay.
So I would say if that's where you're experiencing it, in my experience, like a nice probiotic, prebiotic for the skin, a nice toner to go in there and help clear that hormonal acne is best. But a lot of the times it's figuring out where the hormonal balance is, and that's where a physician comes into play.
Yeah,
But figuring out where that hormone imbalance is and taking care of it. I know, a lot of clients are on birth control just to prevent acne. So,
totally.
um, yeah, it's going to be different for each person, and it can happen at all stages of our life.
Okay. Um, the other thing I have a question on, because I feel like it's like all the rage, is this retinol
Uh
business.
huh.
Why do we need it?
Yeah.
Do we need it? Does
Hmm.
everybody need it? And then I want to know like how early you should start it because I feel like now that it's such a rage,
Hmm.
my 19-year-old is like talking retinol
Hmm.
and I feel like that's definitely a thing that they're into.
Yeah.
So, why do we need it? When should we start it? And what's it going to do?
I think cell turnover is why we need it.
Mhm.
Uneven skin tone and texture, mostly texture, helping skin texture. As we age, our collagen production dissipates. It helps that cell turnover process. It helps that collagen production process, helps with elastin and so forth. So it's very anti aging. Where yes, I love to preach the preventative game.
Yeah.
I'm not sure like a really strong retinol is going to be great for people in their teens and 20s. It's more for keeping an even skin texture as you age. So I would say like late 20s and up, it's like start putting that into your routine and also focus on like the strength of retinol that you're using, something really
Okay.
light.
Okay.
From hydropeptide, like a little booster, is a little bit different from like Dermalogica's 1% retinol, where
Right.
you should be using a buffer cream while you start that. I wouldn't say that like Mars should be using that.
Yeah.
But maybe, depending on what's going on with their skin, how their texture looks, it's all just kind of skin analysis, looking at the individual,
Come see the
making sure
expert.
it's something that's going to be good for them, making sure that the right strength is being used for that
Yeah.
person. And really it is anti-aging. It does create the collagen and help with cell turnover. But the most that I recommend it for is that really uneven skin texture. So people that are experiencing like different keratosis issues and so forth, where we
Mhm.
just have that overproduction and we're getting like raised areas of
For
our
sure.
skin and so forth. We just really need to create that cell turnover with exfoliation and retinol to smooth the skin surface.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so before we go, what other services do you offer? Because we talked facials, we talked waxing, but I know there's a few other little tidbits we can come see you for also. So tell us.
Yeah, I mean, I you hear lots of things when you start beauty school, when you start businesses, and when you go into something new, and you just like take all the gems and you figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
And one thing that I didn't realize was going to be so true that literally everyone in the industry told me as I was going through certifications and doing my networking is that you try everything, you figure out what you're good at, and you kind of go into your niche. So I'm in the stage where now, 2 years later, a year of full time leaving the corporate world, I'm kind of finding my niche, and
Mhm.
it really is facials, and it really is just full body waxing. So that is really what I'm focused on now.
Mhm.
I have clients that I've been doing other services for that I won't stop doing those other services for, but I'm probably not going to take a lot of new clients, if any, in those areas otherwise, because
Sure.
I'm just so honed in. Um, I do lash lift and tints. I do brow laminations. I do teeth whitening. I
It's so
do.
good, y'all.
It is good, and I
Yeah.
do love it, and it's something that I probably will always do, but I will likely take it off my new client main menu.
Oh, sure.
One of the things too about business is you have to figure out where you're profitable, right? And where you're putting your money into inventory and supplies and how much
Mhm.
that costs and so forth, and then how long it sits there, and then all of that. So I started realizing that having a big skincare order, having a big wax order, having a big teeth whitening order, having a big lash lift and tint order, like it
Yeah, that
wasn't
adds up.
beneficial, right?
Right, if it's just sitting there not used
Mhm.
often enough or fast enough, yeah.
Yeah. And we figure out what we like to do.
Yeah.
Like, I like to give facials. I like to promote relaxation. I like to get somebody feeling good about their skin. I like to recommend skincare products. I love skincare products. So that's something that was easy for me to focus on. And as I built my
Yeah.
business, when I would run promotions, when I would seek new clientele, those type of things, I really, really focused on the marketing of facials versus anything else because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I have a ton of facials. I'm very facial heavy. The waxing that I do, a lot of those clients were gifted to me, or they're just
Mhm.
people, that have popped in because they needed a brow wax and now they
Yeah.
like the way that I did it. So I see them all the time, which is excellent. I still love waxing as well. I don't love to give lash lift and tints. Like, yeah, I can do it. People don't realize that not everybody has the best lashes for it. And then
Yeah,
managing client expectations is a real thing.
100%.
Especially when you have like a 70-year-old lady come in and they want nice full
Yeah,
lashes. And
like,
it's
"You
like,
have 5 lashes, honey."
she's
Right.
probably not the best for this. Or, what you do have, I can enhance, but it's not going to be what you want it.
Right, it's
Like
not gonna be the filtered picture that you see on Pinterest, let's be real,
100%.
like,
Yes.
similar to the hair game, like,
Yes.
"Girl, we don't have magic wands, like,
Mhm.
we still have to work with what you bring to the table." I could
Yes.
totally see that being a thing, especially lashes,
Mhm.
because I feel like so many of the filters, so many of the individual lashes that, like,
Mhm.
you might not even realize that that's girl, she wasn't born with those,
Yes.
and then they bring you this picture and this
Yes.
expectation of, like
Well, and everybody thinks like the lash extensions. They're not lash extensions. It's just perming what you have. It's
Right.
going to look like a thin coat of mascara and you're going to look like you used a eyelash curler.
Yeah,
You're not going to look like
right.
super full. It's not what the service is. So I've found that that particular service, it's really hard to manage client expectations,
Totally.
which makes me not super love doing the service.
Yeah.
Um, Teeth whitening, I do like doing. It is a lot of fun. Again, managing clients' expectations because everybody's foundation is so different.
Yeah.
I'm not a dentist. I'm not here to clean your teeth. You still need to go every 6 months and get your teeth cleaned,
Right.
ideally before you get them whitened. But, again, managing those expectations and then just like, you know, yes, I can take care of like staining, but I can't like if you have like your tooth is dead or things like there's just things that I can't
Right,
do
or,
for
like,
it.
you've been smoking a pack a day and drinking 4 cups of coffee every day for, like, 30
It'll
years.
take you a
You're
few
not gonna, like,
appointments.
walk out glowing
Hmm.
white.
Even myself, like I was turned on at a beauty expo
Mhm.
actually by doing a service from somebody that was there at a beauty expo, and I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed the 20-minute results that I got because my teeth were so yellow without noticing because
Yeah.
of things that you're talking about
Yeah.
and just standard
Just life.
staining that happens.
Yeah.
And so like I can't get any whiter than I am. I've tried. It's
Right.
just, but where you start really makes a difference, just like skincare, just like anything else. Um, so yeah, managing those expectations can be a little bit difficult as well.
Gotcha. Alright, I love it. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. You guys remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel because we are gonna be putting up, our little waxing adventure here shortly, so I wouldn't want you to miss the fun on that. But thank you for coming and
You're
hanging
welcome.
out and answering all my wild and crazy questions. And we will make sure that we have all of your socials linked here on the podcast in the comments so that people can come and see you.
Love it.
And yeah,
Well, thank you for having me. I hope to see
yeah,
you
of
all in the
course.
treatment room and hope you learned a little something today. If you have further questions, just reach out. I love answering.
Sweet, love it. All right, we'll see you guys soon.